Hello, everybody. It's a Sunday and it's a long day, but it's also day 3 of the 12 days of salts. So, welcome to the club. Again, this is for an acquired taste only and not for everybody. It's where I kind of try find things that are very undervaluable. Let me walk through the whole process. And again, thank you to the mods in chat and coming. So, today we're going to talk about number 3. Okay, and now jump in. I'll make this real fast. This is not investment advice. This is just sharing my research. Make your own decisions. I lay it all out and you can figure it out for yourself. And don't forget to subscribe as well, especially now I have a new Sol Alt playlist. Breaks them all down. There'll be at least 13 plus of these videos and maybe a lot more because this is where everything is migrating to. This is why it's worth the flutter. And what I do, the methodology is real simple. I'm comparing the old world, the winners of 2020, 2021, to the new world and trying to decipher who are the comparable tokens and are they cheaper than the old ones? And if not, can they grow into upside? And remember, this is a super, super, super high risk portfolio. We're going way out in the risk curve, but this is what the community wanted. And remember, my allocation is less than 5% of my crypto holdings in these Sol alts. Now, building up positions, building up a pie. At the end of all this, I will share the pie and the allocations, and some will have a much higher weighting than others based on my models, but I'll analyze them all together. That'll be like part number 13 or something of this series as well. And this one I'm doing today, Raydium, is yet another DEX. I like DEXs. I use DEXs. I understand DEXs. I don't understand games. I don't understand NFTs, but I do understand financial applications and the value propositions of Raydium. So far, value locked 186 million, which is not the biggest, of course, in the whole world, but it's pretty big. Thank you, Deluxe, for being out there all the way in Australia. Trading volume since inception, $67 billion. And of course, it's built on Solana. It does light speed swaps, next level liquidity, it's frictionless yield, nothing but goodness. So what are the top 10 reasons I like Raydium? I do a top 10 for every single token. Hopefully they'll all have 10 reasons, but this one does. Again, high-speed transactions. I've used it for quite a while actually. Incredibly fast speeds, is settling in under a second. Translates to rapid executions, minimizing delays and frustration. I mean, if you use Raydium after using Ethereum, you'll never go back to Ethereum. It's that simple. Very low fees means you can trade a lot for high-frequency traders like myself and make large trades, but you can make large trades off very thin spreads very frequently and still make a lot of money. Deep liquidity as well. Raydium is integrated with Serum's DEX. It's a central limit order book, which provides access to vast pool of liquidity. And this ensures users can trade at a desired price with minimal slippage or even for less common tokens. Now, a lot of people get confused about that, but imagine you're trading an obscure token and there's no depth, there's no liquidity, and you're trying to swap that for something else. You're not going to be able to. Or if you do, you might lose 10 or 15% in the process. That's why this point number 3 is very, very important as well. Staking rewards, you can stake it as well to earn passive income. It also has cross-chain compatibility. They're working to bridge to other chains like Ethereum. Also, very user-friendly interface. Anybody could use it. Strong community. They're working on a whole bunch of partnerships. In fact, when we talk about the tokenomics, I'll talk about that as well. There's governance. It has a solid governance capability. And of course, it's growing fast. We will talk more about that too. So that's what I like. I like growth. I like adoption. I like users. I like TVL. I like volume. That's why we look at all these things. Now, there's some other good news too coming out for Raydium. They have new tools launching. They're launching a pool, and the tool is called Pump. It's funny. Ivan would like that. Pump, he'd call it. But this has been introduced for launching a pool on Raydium. It simplifies the process of seeding liquidity and getting a pool up and running. Also, for the TA folks out there, there's a bull flag formation on the 12-hour, and that is bullish. And also, Swissborg welcomes Raydium. Swissborg is a big Swiss crypto wealth management platform, and they use Raydium, and they've built it into their app, highlighting it as a premier automated market maker on driving liquidity on chain, which is huge. Thank you so much, JN, for coming. Hope you like the series over there in the United Kingdom. I love seeing people. We have Australians and British and Germans and Scandinavians all in the audience right now. Now, Raydium, why do I like it? Well, it's first in volume. Woohoo! Number one, we like winners here. We do not like losers. And you can see at the very top of the charts is Raydium, followed by Orca, followed by Phoenix, followed by Lifinity. So they're kind of the players. But drilling a little bit more into this detail, you can see here, again, as I mentioned before, volume can shift very rapidly. This is the market share of DEX volume, and Raydium is the fastest growing. Raydium on this chart is in purple, and a breakdown of it you can see here. Raydium also has not only the most volume, but also the most liquidity, and it has had a huge spike in liquidity. But if you look back to the past, say July 2022, Raydium was also a winner back there as well. Trask, thank you so much. But there's more. This is the breakdown of the actual numbers. This is in terms of liquidity. So you can see Orca is number 2 at 32.8%, and Raydium is number 1, 57.1% of all the liquidity there. Those with the most liquidity will be the most adopted based on my experience in life too. Tokenomics, I put together a quick little chart here showing you the breakdown of tokenomics. They have a hard cap of 555 million Ray. Ray was trading at $1 not too long ago, $1. So, but not all is issued. The total Ray mining reserve is about 34% of all tokens, about 190 million Ray. Emissions will last for about 36 months, and halvenings occur every 6 months. And the halvening means for these guys, it's the budget for the maximum tokens used for emission during a 6-month period, which will have relative to the previous period. In addition, about 0.03% of trading fees will be used to buy Ray back, increasing buy pressure, which increases price, which is great. And you can see the team only took 20%, which is great. We like teams that aren't greedy, not teams that take 50, 60% for themselves. 20% is very reasonable in the crypto world. In addition, competitors, as I mentioned, it's a murderer's row of players. There are tons of DEXs, but this has the potential to do really well going forward. If you want to look at all the winners, obviously the elephant of the room is Uniswap. It's the biggest, oldest, was the best. The question is, will it remain the best going forward? That's how we need to think as investors. Now, the competition, as I mentioned, competition is fierce, markets are fickle, volume can shift. From one day to the next, a DEX could go down and everybody could move over to something else and have a better experience, and that's it, game over. So this stuff is very, very, very risky. Now let's look at some math modeling here. Using our new Sol Alt Crypto Compendium. Huge shout out to the team behind the IA engine. But if you look at relative market caps here, you can see Uniswap was $4 billion market cap only a couple of days ago. Now it's $3.9 billion versus $290 million for Raydium, which is a lot smaller, which means, in simple terms, if Raydium grows to be the size of Uniswap, there's a much upside you have. Jay, and you're very, very generous. Thank you. We'll be able to sponsor more elephants next week too. So if you imagine that Raydium grows during this next bull run to half the size of Uniswap, that's a 664% upside. If it grows to be the size of Uniswap, that's 1327% upside. Now that is big, but remember, that's comparing the prices today. As the bull run happens, Uniswap will go up in value. Therefore, Raydium has the potential too. And Raydium, as if everything goes according to my thesis of the Solana being the black hole, it's a no-brainer, potentially. But again, very risky. Remember that. Also, when we look at inflation, it's not all perfect. But you can see here the Raydium inflation is 8.44% per year. Compare that to Uniswap, that's been around a lot longer, is 6.43%. So that's not bad. It's under that 10%, which is very, very important to me, but it's still high. But when you compare it to older Lindy things, it's not that high at all. In addition, let's look at whale concentration. Again, not perfect here. 93.99% is whale concentration for Raydium and 83.28% for Uniswap. Again, Not critical. In fact, I got some data on Lifinity yesterday, which I'll tweet out later and share. It shows you that the whale concentration for Lifinity is not that bad. I haven't had time to examine all the different wallets here, but you can imagine some of them are things like, as we mentioned, the tokenomics. I guarantee you that the whale concentration would include things like partnership and ecosystem, mining reserves, etc. So that's why it can be a little bit misleading when we look at the whale concentration, because those wallets aren't necessarily whales who will dump on you as well. So that's the whale stuff. In addition, let's look at the chart right now. This is Raydium again. It was like $1.12, went to $1.15. Now it's $1.17, so it's moving pretty fast. But you can see it's way off the highs of just a month ago. So there's a lot of upside. And what I do is I try and time these things to make sure that we get in a good entry position. We don't buy the top. You don't want to do that. But again, even with the top of where it is, it's nowhere near where the top was during the last bull run for this asset, or where Uniswap was as well. So again, people could quibble over buying at $1.12, $1.17. If you zoom out and look at the big picture, there's still a lot of upside. That's why and just for the record, I am building these positions and I want to hold them for the next 12 months, unless something radically changes with any of these assets, like they break or the team does something bad or they're simply not getting adopted. Then I'll swap into another asset. But my plan is to hold them for at least a year, and we'll see where it all goes. In addition, where to buy Raydium, you buy it in a bunch of different places like Binance, Gate.io, OKX, also on Raydium itself, Uniswap, or not Uniswap, Jupiter, all these other places too. So lots of places where it's available. And a quick conclusion, everybody, before I wrap. This will be fast. It'll be one every single day for the next, what's the 12-day series. So no matter what, I'll still do my usual videos, but I'll also be doing one of these every day. So make sure you follow the Sol Alt playlist if this is your thing. And again, thank you to JN and everybody else out there in the audience. But the 3 reasons, just to summarize why I think it's buy: very high transaction fees, really quick fills, very little slippage, and you can execute trades in less than a second, which is awesome. With confirmation, you see a pop up in your Phantom wallet or whatever you're using. Also, the fees are extremely low for Raydium users, which I love, and especially if you're trading high frequency. And the liquidity from the Serum DEX is second to none, and there's tons of good news. They're still building. And it's a good project, but remember as well, as I mentioned, I love this, it's very difficult to predict the future. This is just analysis based on data, and I believe it's one of our faster horses for this next bull run. So excited to see where it all goes. Thank you as well, everybody. See you later. Happy Sunday. Thank you, Mike, for joining, and have a good evening, everybody. See you tomorrow morning on DCA, early 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 4:30 Central European time, and a big thank you once again to everybody here in the chat. Bye-bye.